Robin Xing, your first glimpse at this data, what do you think?
Well, it shows China's recovery is better than anybody's expectations so far. The strong beat is not just due to reopening, but also thanks to the supportive monetary and the fiscal easing. I would say phase one of the recovery is largely done because most of the activities you just saw is back to pre-COVID level. Now we are entering phase two, which is a more organic and sustained recovery beyond just the reopening, driven by job market recovery and consumption. So that's the thing we are watching.
The National Bureau of Statistics, to your point, just coming out with a line here saying that there are constraints coming from insufficient domestic demand. Do you think this is a precursor for more stimulus to come? And what type of stimulus does this economy need, to be more specific?
Well, overall, it's definitely going through a very nice rebound. But there are some mixed signals, for example, inflation. But inflation is a lagging indicator, so I'm not so worried about if this subdued inflation shows recovery is still very weak. In fact, if you look at leading indicators,
but
you
retail
mentioned
sales, it doesn't square very well if domestic demand is actually here, as they're suggesting, insufficient, and we got a huge beat on retail sales. I don't know how you actually balance the two, guys.
Exactly, and you mentioned the property. Property has a tremendous importance to the economy. It's in a sharp rebound right now after all these easing measures. Property sales rebounded to basically positive territory, and usually property construction and the new starts will improve with 1 to 2 quarters lag. So we are saying gradually property sector will be back as a positive contribution to GDP growth, up from a minus 1.5 percentage point drag to GDP last year. So this is a big, big change in economic outlook from the property perspective.
But we're still seeing property investment. Is
Exactly.
quite a bit of contraction. Does that kind of dampen the outlook a little bit?
Yes, you need people buying house again, and gradually maybe developers will buy new piece of land. So usually property construction will be lagging behind property sales by 1 to 2 quarters. But by later end of this year, I'm sure even property investment will be back to positive territory.